Good evening, everyone. My name is Kristen, and tonight I will be talking about my curriculum design in my Lucia Falls Road Forest. So my project, my design of curriculum is designed for elementary age students, specifically 3rd and 4th grade. These students are in the concrete operational stage. So what that means is they learn best by logical reasoning. They are kinesthetic and visual learners. So they will learn best by having an object placed in front of them. They want to place a piece of information and correlate it with an object. And at this point in their career, they've transitioned from the pre-operational reasoning stage, which allowed them to learn through perception, and they're capable of symbolic functioning. So they've surpassed the idea of connecting pieces together, but now they want to physically see them connected. So my theories throughout my curriculum, the first one is behavioralism, mostly because with this theory, it's important to teach, especially the lessons I've designed, to teach these lessons based off of the energy and the behavior of the students. Not necessarily saying that if the students aren't interested that you should show no interest. Of course, that's not what I'm saying, but more so just mirroring their energy level and then enhancing it and showing how excited you are about these subjects and like tapping into what makes them excited, because that will change their behavior about the subjects and what they're learning and want to know more. The second theory for my curriculum is constructivism, and this one basically is going to serve as the foundation for the students connecting the pieces together, constructing their own thoughts about the environment that they're learning in. So throughout the lesson, the information that's presented and the lessons that are taught, they're physically visible to them. So they're going to be able to take those pieces of information and connect them together, which is so important for this age group. And for my learning objectives and outcomes, I mostly just want the students to really learn about their surroundings in the forest and understand the ecology, the adaptations that happen between the animals and the plants, and just more so get understand their senses when it comes to the forest. And again, I don't know if I had mentioned it actually, my subjects in my curriculum are biology and art. So these are two subjects that I personally find super exciting and really fun, and with this age group, especially from personal experiences, I've been able to connect on a deeper level when teaching these lessons, because students just find it so fun, especially when it comes to art. So for my assessments, the first assessment for my biology section is a matching quiz on the organisms and the components identified in the field. So for example, I will show a picture of healthy soil, and then they have to identify it as healthy soil and then state why they know that it's healthy soil. So they could say that it's dark in color, for example. The second assessment will probably work best if students are in smaller groups or partners rather than individual, because they will be making illustrations that describe brief detailing about what they've learned in the forest. So students will be asked to identify terms within their illustrations. So they will draw like a tree trunk, a canopy cover, decaying matter, all of those intricate details that they have to identify. And for my art assessments, the first one parallels with one of my lessons. So these students will be creating essentially their own creatures that need to live and be sustainable in the forest. So they have to create adaptations for these animals, and they have to basically state why they would be successful in living in the forest. And then from there you can determine their level of understanding as far as adaptations or key characteristics for living in the forest. And then the second assessment is basically like a quiz again, just similar to the biology section. This one will state what a forest needs, and the students can identify simple terms that the students will need. So some of these correct choices could be a water source, healthy soil, sunlight, animal migration. Whereas some of the trick questions within this quiz to ensure that the students understand could be like cattle or full darkness, of course, things that would make no sense to have in a forest. So my lessons are pretty simple again because of the age group, but my first one is called A Tree as an Ecosystem. So the students will, just like really brief on my lessons, the students will be observing the base of a tree as well as the trunk and the leaves, and then identifying different components and organisms that live within that ecosystem, and then they will understand further why and how that tree serves as its own ecosystem. The second lesson within my forest section is forest layers, which is the lesson that I had previously described but more defined. The students will just be understanding the different layers within the forest and how they differ, how they're similar, and why it's important that a healthy forest has all of the different layers. And for my art section, the first lesson is called Field Guide. So the students will be creating their own field guide. They will have to include plants and animal species and a few characteristics as far as what makes them successful in the forest, and then of course they'll draw it. And then my second lesson for my art section is called What Can This Leaf Be? So this lesson has to come after the tree as an ecosystem because you will collect materials at the end that you then use for this lesson. So this lesson is going to take all of those materials that you've collected, which could be pine needles, leaves, grass, anything that's within that ecosystem, and the students will then create a new creature, for example, or something that they might find in the forest. And then from there, the students will understand and learn about adaptations again and what that creature has to make it successful within the forest. They would have to create that. So again, just kind of wrapping it all together, my main topic within my curriculum is exploring forest biology. So the first section, the first topic that the students are going to learn is forest composition, which will be understood by the forest layers, and then from there they will learn about plants and animals, which will come with the lesson field guide. And then circling within my graphic organizer comes forest ecology, and they will learn those terms and the basis for forest ecology within the lesson A Tree as an Ecosystem. And then my last section for my graphic organizer is for adaptations, and that will come with the lesson What Can a Leaf Be? So again, just kind of wrapping it, my lessons are really hands-on because that's what's important for this age group. And I really would hope that the students get a lot from these lessons and they understand the importance and the connections that a forest has to be successful. So let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.